And this one is a cooperative scenario-based game where players are going to be playing as sirens with their own asymmetrical powers and upgrade board as you try to complete your scenario objectives. You might be doing things like restoring the ocean floor, constructing buildings, and fighting off different monsters and bosses. On a turn, players are going to be using their action points to move around the board and perform their actions, which could be to gather resources, construct equipment with those resources, or attack enemies out on the board by using dice rolling, adding those results to your stats, and then comparing that to the defense value of your enemy. This is how you deal damage, but of course the enemy can do this right back at you, and if you do run out of health in this game, you're not completely eliminated from the game. Instead, you just spawn at a new location with half of your health, but this can also come with some additional side effects depending on the scenario. You can also use your action points to complete scenario-specific actions that are required in order to win that scenario, or even to repair or build buildings out on the board. And what's really cool about this is that the buildings each have a different effect. They might allow you to pay for skill upgrades in order to upgrade your skill tree, or you might choose to build a particular building beside a certain resource because it's going to allow you to transform those resources into new items. Movement's really interesting in this game, and you might have noticed that this does offer a 3D board with different elevations that you can move in and out of, and it does cost you more in order to move through those locations. Luckily, there are underwater currents that are going to be changing throughout the game, and you can use this to your advantage in order to boost your movement to make moving through those locations a little bit easier. But after all the players have performed their actions, you're going to be moving into the enemy activation phase. We're going to be activating each of the enemies currently out on the board, and they're going to be trying to attack and destroy the buildings as well as the players to try and set you back in your objectives. After that, either at the end of a round or based on some sort of triggering event, you're going to be advancing the scenario's progress, which can also trigger all sorts of different events to occur and modify the board and the goals that players are trying to achieve. But the game continues like this until the players either trigger one of the loss conditions, and in that case they lose the game, but if they're able to complete all the objectives of their scenario, then they'll be able to advance to the next one, and if you do want to check this one out, I will have it linked in the description down below.